In this programme, we travel to East Anglia and I look at operations on the Wherry lines to the east of Norwich. A study of traction, including HSTs and Class 91s at work on the East Coast Main Line. We look at various workings, including operations on the Gloucester-Warwickshire Heritage Railway. Stone traffic in the Peak District is next, including a rather loud 37716. And finally, a visit to the Severn Valley Railway and the Class 50s at 50 event held back in October. In the first section of the programme, we travel to East Anglia as we take a look at operations to the east of the city of Norwich. Our visit to the so-called Wherry lines took place in October 2018, just weeks before the work commenced on modernising the route with new track work and signals, bringing to an end the many operational signal boxes dating back more than 130 years. The map here shows our main filming locations included in this section. We begin at Reedham Station, close to the junction where the line to Great Yarmouth via Burney Arms diverges from the main route from Norwich to Lowestoft. The date is the 10th of October, and these early morning views of the signals and signal box are now history, with the final modernisation work having taken place on this stretch from the third week of March 2019. New colour light signals and a revised track layout is now controlled by the Colchester Area Signalling Centre. Arriving from the west is Class 170 Unit number 270, working the 0627 from Norwich to Lowestoft. This is 158783, slowing for the signal with train 2J63, the 0635 Lowestoft to Norwich. Ex-British Rail era diesel units are still the mainstay of services around this area. Whilst some services are operated by East Midlands owned units, the majority on the line are worked by Abellio East Anglia train sets, such as this one, the 0645 from Norwich to Lowestoft, in the care of 156 402. Also used as a stopgap in the area is a loco-hauled set using top and tailed Class 37s on hire from direct rail services. At just after 0715 is 5J67, approaching the station and running empty from Norwich Crown Point Depot to Lowestoft, with 37419 and 37409 as motive power. This is Reedham Swing Bridge that takes the line across the River Yar. The signal box controlling the bridge is to be retained, with a release being obtained from the Colchester Signalling Centre. The box and bridge date from 1904, when the route from Reedham to Somerleyton was doubled. The 37 seen here return with the 0747 from Lowestoft to Norwich. We now move to the Norwich to Great Yarmouth single track line and to a location east of Acle. We will then move west to two locations around the town station. We will use this map again to show more filming locations closer to Great Yarmouth later on in this section. Heading west is Class 153 railcar number 153335 with the 0846 from Great Yarmouth to Norwich. With low demand outside of the peak periods, a single coach is adequate for the amount of people using the line services. In the opposite direction we see our two Class 37s again, this time working the 2P12, which is the 0836 from Norwich to Great Yarmouth. The train will have passed the Class 153 in the loop at Acle. Just to the west of Acle, our semaphore in this view gives a clear route for the 0917 from Great Yarmouth to Norwich. Akel's signal box is an ex-Great Eastern design dating from when the line opened in 1883. Token block working was introduced between Brundall, Akel and Braden Junction near Great Yarmouth in 1960, when the loops here were extended to cater for the long summer Saturday holiday trains. Braden Junction box eventually closed and responsibilities transferred to the facility at Yarmouth. Arriving from Norwich is 156419 on the 0956 departure for Great Yarmouth. This view shows the long straight track towards Lingwood and onwards to Brundall, our next port of call. We move west once more and to the town of Brundall. The single track line from Great Yarmouth joins here with the line from Lowestoft. Back in 1874, the stretch of railway just to the west experienced one of the worst rail disasters of the time, when two trains hit each other head-on at Thorpe. The line was then single track, and due to late running and confusion, duplicate telegraph orders were issued to the drivers of the 2040 mail train from Yarmouth and the crew of the 1700 express from London. A head-on collision occurred, and 21 people unfortunately lost their lives. Prompted by the accident, Edward Tyre developed the tablet system, in which a token is given to the driver which is slotted into an electronic interlocking device at the other end of the single track section, before another train is allowed to pass, and the rest, as they say, is history. Here 156407 and 153305 form the 948 from Lowestoft to Norwich. Problems with one of the door locks on the loco-hauled set this day meant that the Class 37s were replaced by this Class 153, number 314. Here it pauses on a service to Great Yarmouth. Heading east, and we are at Great Yarmouth. We also visit two further locations slightly to the west, close to the former junction at Breydon. The box here at Yarmouth operates the signals around the station area, which are a mixture of colour lights and mechanical semaphore. When these views were taken, Platform 1 had just been taken out of use, and the signal support gantry can be seen minus its arm on the left. A new crossover was to be installed adjacent to the existing box, where the new sleepers here await installation. The box would be closed as part of the £68 million overall Wherry line resignalling project. (156-407) departs the town with the 1217 Yarmouth to Norwich service. The local area is a rich wildlife haven and attracts many water birds. It is also the eastern limit for the popular Norfolk Broads, a busy holiday destination. Before departing with the 1217 service for Norwich, unit number 156407 had arrived with a service via the Burney Arms route from Reedham. This stretch of line was closed completely during the resignalling works between October 2018 and the end of March 2019, when the new track layout and signalling at Reedham was fully commissioned. As part of the new work, the once extensive carriage sidings will also be taken out, although these have not been used for many years. They were once an integral part of the numerous summer Saturday loco-hauled services that used to visit the line. A mile to the west towards Acle, and not far from the former junction at Breydon, we see railcar number 153314 once more, with the 1236 Norwich to Yarmouth service. Again, it was deputising for the Class 37s. During the leaf fall season, Network Rail operate this Railhead Treatment Train. The working is the 922 from Stowmarket, via Norwich, Cromer and Great Yarmouth. It is due to arrive at Yarmouth at 13:44 hours, departing 37 minutes later. The train is seen here with 57002 and 003 in charge. The working is seen again, this time heading via the Burney Arms line to Reedham. It's Reedham that we return to once again, and to 4 locations around the town. We'll also head briefly to Cantley and back, located just a few miles to the northwest towards Norwich. The signals are set for the road to Lowestoft, as 153306 heads away from the camera with the 1457 from Lowestoft to Norwich. The fishtail distance signal indicates the route is set for a clear passage over the nearby swing bridge. In the opposite direction is sister unit number 314 heading for Lowestoft. Services to and from Lowestoft generally operate to an half-hourly frequency. The crossovers and the centre line seen here were all removed as part of the remodelling work, with a new set of crossovers installed closer to our camera position. The right-hand signal controls train movements from off the single line section from Yarmouth, which, as we've mentioned previously, joins here. A better view of the Yarmouth line here as 156409 comes into view, forming the 1417 Yarmouth to Norwich service. There are 3 Norwich to Yarmouth services and 4 Yarmouth to Norwich services along this stretch each day. The trains alternate along the route to Yarmouth via Acle. Back to the bridge, and the Reedham distance signal is set for the passage of 153314, heading back towards Norwich. We promised a quick visit to Cantley to the northwest of Reedham, and this is it. The signal box here is only slightly younger than the 1883 vintage box at nearby Brundall. The box used to control the sidings in the nearby sugar refinery, but only 10 out of its 21 levers were in use at the time of our visit. The box also operates the crossing gates seen here in this photo. The station serves the local village, with its population of just over 700. As mentioned, the local sugar factory dominates the area and is owned and operated by British Sugar. It is only one of 4 factories located in the UK responsible for processing sugar beet. Arriving from the Norwich direction is 156412, working the 2J84, the 1658 Norwich to Lowestoft. For passengers who prefer to lie down on station platforms, this is the view they would get of 153, 322 and 306, working a Lowestoft to Norwich service. These two were in place of the Class 37s which had been stood down earlier in the day. Moving back to Reedham, and the setting sun provided a pleasant view as we awaited the departure of 170-207 on a Yarmouth to Norwich service. It is sad that the old mechanical signals have now been removed, such is the gradual progress of our current railway's focus on modernisation. Luckily for the observer, the types of trains that we have witnessed are still to be seen, but not for much longer, as these two are set for replacement as the new Abellio East Anglia Class 755 Flirt modular train sets are delivered and introduced from mid-May 2019 onwards. Another site soon to be history on our railways are the current East Coast HSTs and Class 91s, which have been plying their way up and down this iconic stretch of railway for upwards of 40 years. The HSTs were introduced between 1976 and 1981, and the Class 91s from 1989 when the line was electrified. Today we are on the brink of the mass introduction of the Intercity Express train, or the Azuma as it is also known, which will bring a major transformation of train types to be seen on this route. We begin the section just north of Peterborough, near Marholm on Herne Road footbridge, a popular train watching location. This part of the programme is intended as a snapshot of train operations prior to the introduction of the new Azumas. Heading north on a very blustery 11th of October 2018 is Class 91 number 117, powering train 1S12, the 10:30 King's Cross to Edinburgh. (91-124) was just a few minutes behind, forming the 10:02 from King's Cross to Leeds. On the slow line we see Freightliner's 70-008, working train 4M81, the 0801 from Felixstowe to Crewe. It is passed by 91-110 on the 10:02 York to King's Cross. In the second part of this feature we travel north and to 3 locations between Grantham and Newark, shown here on our map. The first location is just east of Marston, with the second spot on a road bridge nearby. We begin not with a passenger train but with a freight, in the shape of 66192 powering north with the 0809 from Dollons Moor to Scunthorpe, conveying empty rail carrying wagons. On its tail were 43316 and 317. 90029 was next to appear, powering north with the 1206 King's Cross to Newark service. Class 90s have been in use for many months now to ease the ongoing shortage of available Class 91s. With our cameraman fighting against the strong sidewind, 91129 comes into view at the rear of this, the 10 o'clock Edinburgh to King's Cross. Heading north we have 43274 and 272 with the 1230 King's Cross to Newcastle. .7811 was the next to appear, powering empty fuel tanks, the train being 6E82, the 1216 Rectory Junction to Lindsey Oil Refinery. A wider angle shot now as 91110 heads north, powering the 1303 King's Cross to Leeds service. We were seeing around 10 trains per hour at this location. This is the 1333 King's Cross to Leeds service, which will be passed by hard-in Midland Main Line power cars, numbers 43045 and 43075 on the 1345 Leeds to King's Cross. East Coast HST power cars are fitted with the MTU V16 4000 engines, whilst the Midland power cars have the Paxman VP 185. You can certainly hear the difference. From the 15th of May, the first Azumas will be put into traffic on services from London to and from Leeds. Slightly to the north we get this shot from a convenient road overbridge. The train in question is the 1400 King's Cross to Aberdeen, with power cars 43310 and 43300 doing the honours. Our third section comes from near Claypole, to the south of Newark. Our location is a quiet farm track crossing, and seen here heading north is 91122 with train 1B56, the 1406 from King's Cross to Newark. Heading south we see 43317 and 316, with the 1445 leads to King's Cross. Of course, it's not just HSTs and Class 91s that speed along the East Coast route, we also see Class 180s. In this view, 18905 forms the 1448 King's Cross to Bradford service. This is the 1500 King's Cross to Edinburgh. Finally, it is 91108 at the rear of the 1516 Leeds to King's Cross train. In a matter of months, the new intercity express trains will begin to enter service, and scenes like this will be confined yet again to history. A look at a variety of trains and locations now, as we begin this section from Cornwall. Colas Rail operate many of the infrastructure services to and from the Duchy, and it is from Truro that we see 7810 pushing a set of loaded wagons out of the station. Unusually, this train was stabled in the nearby yard, ready for work in the Burngellow area later that night. It's hard to believe that it is over a year since the Gloucester-Warwickshire Railway opened its northern extension to Broadway on Good Friday the 30th of March 2018. Since then, passenger numbers on the nearly 15-mile-long line have doubled, with further increases projected. Seen heading away from Cheltenham Racecourse on the 1st of April is Great Western Churchwood Class 280, number 2807, built in 1905. The locomotive was restored mainly at the workshops at Toddington and re-entered traffic in 2010. The same train is seen again, this time on the newly opened stretch to the north of Toddington. The new extension has opened up a number of new vistas to see and photograph the passing trains. Also in action was 7820 Dinmore Manor, seen here heading north towards Broadway, which is situated around 3 miles to the north. Number 2807 is seen leaving Broadway with a service for Cheltenham Racecourse. Heritage diesels are usually allowed to stretch their legs on the late afternoon departure from Toddington to Cheltenham and back. This time it was the turn of superbly restored 37248. Another steam event in Gloucestershire was the appearance of 6009 on the Cathedrals Express, the 741 from West Brompton to Gloucester and return. Here the train accelerates away from Standish Junction on the 20th of November 2018. Class 37s are now very rare visitors to the Berkeley branch since the nuclear flask traffic ceased. Today, containerised low-level medical waste is the only commodity moved. Here 37259 and 419 begin their trip down the branch on the 15th of February 2018. The Stroud Valley route is a popular location for observing steam-hauled trains. On the 6th of April 2019, number 7029 Cluncastle storms up the 1 in 74 grade near Chalford with the Cotswold Explorer Tour to Oxford. Situated southeast of Manchester, the area around Buxton is a major railway freight hotspot, with dozens of stone trains leaving or arriving in the area each day. Our maps show the different filming locations we've chosen for this feature. We begin at Peak Forest, and it was for a reason. Our visit coincided with the use of 37716, hired in as super shunter for the local quarry. It's time to turn up the volume. Bringing a bit of sanity back to the proceedings is 66613, which is seen here during a run-round movement after it had brought a rake of empty hoppers from Tunstead sidings before heading back into the quarry loading area. There were some pretty large bits of kit at work in the local quarry, as we can see here. Meanwhile, arriving with the 930 empty hoppers from Washwood Heath in Birmingham is GBRF's 66770. The train consists of coal wagons, which are now being used for stone. Meanwhile, 37716 were still active in the sidings, shunting the Cemex-owned quarry. The 1307 Dowlow to Ashbury's loaded stone train is booked to stop at Peak Forest for a crew change. Getting the 1800-ton train moving again takes a bit of grunt, and 66088 battles hard against the 1 in 129, dropping to 1 in 227 gradient. 66783, now operated by GBRF, was the original 66058, but was renumbered in January 2018. It was repainted in this Biffa red livery to commemorate a household waste transportation project. Here it arrives with empty hoppers from Bletchley on the 16th of August 2018. Note the ex-EWS coal hoppers making up the train, and compare these to the GBRF ones on the right. Due to the weight of the stone, the ex-coal hoppers can only be partially filled, the wagons having been originally designed for the lighter but more bulky coal product, which had a much bigger volume requirement in achieving the same weight as the stone. Many of these type HTAs are being cut down in length and recoded as HRA for future aggregate work. The empty train was soon pushed into the quarry loading area, ready for its next trip. Another empty train seen arriving is powered by 66615 on a service from Barrow Hill Sardings to Tunstead Quarry. Less than a mile away is the aptly named junction at Great Rocks, where we set up position to film our next set of workings. Heading north is Freightliner's 66413, resplendent in the owning company Genesee and Wyoming's corporate colours. The train is the 1327 Tunstead to Brentford service. Tripping a set of empties bound for Tunstead Quarry is 66613. DB Cargo's 66059 drifts up to the signal box to pick up the single line token to Buxton, with the 1215 empties from Walsall to Dallow Quarry. This is Freightliner's 66619. Our next scene is taken from the Shoppers car park in Buxton and shows 66059 on the final leg of its journey up to the quarry at Dowlow, traversing the former Cromford and High Peak Railway, which was completed in 1831. The loco had run round its train in the nearby Buxton sidings. This area is always a fascinating one in which to visit, with a variety of locomotives sporting different liveries as well as different wagon types. It's not quite all over for this section. Let's have one more look at that Class 37 in action. The Class 50 Golden Jubilee Gala, marking 50 years of the Class 50 diesel locomotives, was held at the Severn Valley Railway over 3 days, beginning on the 4th of October 2018. Kidderminster Station was our first port of call, as 50007 provides the atmosphere at the head of the 11:30 departure for Bridgnorth. (5033) was in green primer for the event. Here it arrives with the 11:14 shuttle service from Bewdley. Highley station was our next stop, as visiting 5008 prepares to leave with the demonstration freight. Resident Class 50, number 049, shatters the peace at Highley, departing with the 12:20 service from Bridgnorth. .5044 is operated by the Class 50 Alliance based at Kidderminster and was one of the 11 Class 50s appearing at the event, although number 026 remained a static exhibit over the 3 days due to mechanical issues, which meant only 10 locos were operational, but still a massive achievement by all those involved. We've also included in this section a few scenes from on board the trains. Our apologies if they are a bit bouncy every now and again as a result of the jointed track, but we hope you agree that there is some great sound from the various locos during the acceleration sequences. At Bewdley, 50033 had arrived with the 1345 from Kidderminster. For a sum of just £5, you could use a marker pen to create your own words of wisdom, with proceeds going towards the loco's plan repaint and overhaul. 50031 is next to arrive with the 1420 service from Kidderminster. The event marked the biggest ever gathering of Class 50s in preservation and was a huge draw for enthusiasts from all over the country. The first Class 50 entered preservation in 1991, and in May 1992 number 031 became the first member of the class to haul a passenger train in preservation, appropriately here on the Severn Valley. Another popular visitor was 50017, which has now found a new home on the Great Central Railway. Here the Hoover, sporting original Network South East livery, is coupled to its train at Kidderminster. After that spirited run up the bank, the following day we see number 17 next to 026, here at the station at Kidderminster. Our first train this day saw us ride behind 50015, which was visiting from the East Lancashire Railway. It's Bewdley again, and 50031 has run around its train and is about to couple up onto the shuttle service that was running between here and Kidderminster. The loco wears a fictitious, what might have been, intercity livery. Due to being air brake fitted only, number 8 was used on the dedicated freight turn running between Kidderminster and Highley. Another Class 50 we've not so far featured is number 035, another resident on the line. Here it arrives at Highley with a train for Bridgnorth. Oh. 50007 was sporting the nameplate and number of 50006 on one side only. Here it passes number 035's train at Hampton Load. The other Class 50 at the event was number 050, which we've overlooked to get on film, so please accept our apologies. Finally, in this programme, it's 50044 to bid us farewell as it pulls away out of Highley Station, heading back towards Kidderminster. As the last coach disappears from view, we would like to thank you for watching this edition of British Railways Today.